And make sure that you save things as a macro-enabled workbook, since we're going to be adding some macros to it. So go ahead and hit save there. So now we'll come back over to our Visual Basic. I'm going to make this window a little bit larger for us. So to add things to this user form, there's this little toolbox window that pops up. So I want to add two labels. I'm going to add one for order and one for quantity over here. So the label is this big A. So I'm going to drag and drop a little area. And again, Excel will automatically name all these new components. The name is down here under properties under label 1. Oh, and if you can't see either of these windows, you can go to view, and then project window is this top one, and properties window is this lower one. But so we're going to click label 1. Now I'm going to change this to LBL1 just so it's a little easier to work with. And then currently it says label 1, but I'm going to change this to order. So now if we play this, we just have a box that says orders. So that's really useful. We're going to add another one of these and name this LBL2 because it's the second one, and make it say quantity, QTY. So now if we play this green triangle, it's just going to say order and quantity. So that's really great. I'm also going to add an exit button so that people can exit, but the exit over here on the toolbar is this command button. So I'm going to highlight this, put this down in the corner. Again, Excel names it. I'm going to change this from command button 1 to CMB1. Command button 1. I'm going to change the caption to exit. Okay, so now the way that you can actually code Visual Basic to do things when you click on it is you just click into the button twice. So this window pops up, and we can see that this new sub is CMB1. That's what we just named it. Click. So anything that we type in here is what's going to happen when we click this button. But I just want this to close the form out. So the code to close the form is just unload me. UNLOAD-ME. That's it. So this is going to exit the user form. So now if we play our user form, we're going to click the button on Excel. We have order, quantity, those labels that we made, and we're going to hit exit. So that just closes out. So it's the same thing as in the red X, but I like to have a bigger button so it's easier to click. Okay, now we're going to add in two text boxes that the user can type into. So I'm going to put one under order for orders. I'm going to, again, Excel names it text box 1. I'm going to name it TXT1. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And we're going to add another one under quantity. I'm going to name this TXT2. So now when we play this, we have two boxes that we can type into. It looks kind of bad, but I'm just trying to show you guys the basic functionality. And my exit button works. But this looks so bad that I'm going to just very quickly make this look a little bit better. There's things you can do. Let's see, where is it? You can align these somehow, maybe. Yep. So if you click both of them and then do a line, you can say like tops to make things line up. But anyway, so now we have two labels and two boxes that we can type things in. And I want to let the user add new orders over here in Excel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another button. So I'm going to click the button, drag and drop, and click. This is, again, Excel names it. We already have CMB1. That's this exit button. So I'm going to name it CMB2. I'm going to change the caption to add order. So right now, again, we play it. We have this window that pops up, add order and exit. So in this order, I want users to be able to type into both of these fields and then have the order populate at the bottom of this list over here on the right. So double click into add order again. This window pops up. So now this is where we're going to type things that let the user type in that box to add things over here on the left. So this is going to be add items to orders. Okay, so the first thing is we need to name some variables. The way you do that in Excel is you use the dim. So I'm going to do a dim and make one called order as string. String is just characters, and dim quantity as string 2. Really, because this is a number, this should probably be double, but I haven't used VBA in a little while and I don't immediately recall how to do that. But for this example, this will work. So the first thing that we want to do whenever this window pops up, we want to make sure that people actually typed things in both of these boxes. So the way that we get the values from these boxes is we just call it from within the code. So again, we named this txt1 and this quantity box txt2. So we're going to say order, that's what we just named up here, equals txt1.value. And we're going to say quantity equals txt2.value. So it's going to grab out whatever people have typed in there. One thing that I find really helpful is to put in breakpoints. So I'm going to just click to the right of this end sub, and this red dot and red highlight line appears. And now I'm going to run this sub. So now we can type in here. I'm going to type in number 7. We're ordering part number 7, and we need 50 of these. So I'm going to hit add. Once we hit add, it goes to this sub, which is what happens when you click this button. And this is yellow down here. We can see that this is how far our code has gotten. But I assigned order and quantity the values of what we typed in. So we typed in number 7 for txt1 and 50 for the value. So now I've assigned order and quantity number 7 and 50. And it's nice just to hover over these. So I'm going to hit the green button to continue playing it. Again, this pops back up because this sub is now done, and we'll hit exit. Then I'm going to turn this off. We also want to make sure that people actually typed those things in. So this is just going to be a little bit of error checking. I'm going to say if order equals blank or quantity equals blank, then this is just an if statement. We're going to tell the user that they need to put something in there. So I'm going to call a message box. Please enter a value for order and quantity. So the way we do this is call message box, and this is going to make a window pop up. Parentheses, anything that you want to tell them, put in quotes, and then close parentheses. And then we want this sub to stop right here. So we're going to say exit sub. I misspelled sub. And then we're going to do an end if to finish this statement. So now let's run through what happens here. So if we don't put anything in these boxes, then order and quantity aren't going to be assigned a value. And then this expression, if order is blank or quantity is blank, is going to evaluate true. And we're going to tell the user and then quit. So we hit add order, and this box popped up. This is the message box that we just said. So we're going to say OK. Once we say OK, it's going to exit the sub. And we don't have anything else written, so now it's waiting on the user to tell us the next thing to do with this box. Great. So what we want to do here is take whatever the user types in and add it to the bottom of these columns over here. So this is just some error checking. Really, like, you could also make sure that what they entered for the quantity is a number, but I'm not going to go into that right now. So what we want to do is find out where this guy is right here to add something. But the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to use the .end method. And what it does is it's the equivalent of if you click into Excel and hold down the control key and then hit an arrow key, it will jump to the first place that it hits text. So this is really useful. So control and then any direction, it'll let you jump around. You can also do control and shift to highlight lots of stuff at once. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to find this first empty block right here. So I'm going to pick something that's way down here and then do the equivalent of saying control and up until I hit something and then go down one cell. So that makes sense? So somewhere way down at the bottom, this is probably empty. Control up until I hit something and then go down one cell to find this cell right here. So the way that we do that in Excel is we're going to start way low. So range, this is the way A99999. This is the way that we find or this is the way that I find empty cell, but range A99 is the equivalent of clicking in range A9999 way down here somewhere. Then I'm going to do the .end parentheses XL up. So this is the equivalent of clicking in range A99999, holding down shift and going up. So this is going to select this A9 because it's the first cell where we're going to hit something. So this is like going all the way up. Then we want to go down 1. So we've gone all the way from the bottom up to here and then down 1. So I'm going to use the offset command. So .offset, and this is a really nice command. So this takes two numbers. It's one number comma second number. But the first number is how many rows down you want to go. So I want to go 1 row down and 0 rows over. So now that we found the cell, we're going to set it equal to order, this thing that we collected. So just to comment this out, it's like starting way at the bottom, holding control and jumping up to first cell with text, then going down 1 cell. And the offset command is .offset number cells down, comma, number cells to the right. So anyway, what we have here is we're going to jump all the way up, and we're going to have this cell, then we're going to set this to what the user has typed in. So let's play this. So again, we have to type stuff in because we can't have blank numbers. So I'm going to name this order 3, quantity 50, just making this up, and hit add order. So now you can see over here in this A10 that we have this 3 now because it went all the way down, went up until we hit something, and then typed it in again. If we change this to 4 and do it again, it's going to put it in cell A11 here. See how that works? It's pretty cool, you guys. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm going to erase this. But going back to our code, we also want to get the quantity in here. So what I'm going to do is copy and paste this again. Except this time, range A999, this will already have put in something right here. Right, so after we run this line, we'll have put in order right here. So if we do it again, we don't need to go down 1 because we're going to go down and over 1 to put in the quantity. So let me explain what I just did here. So this first one, range A99, go from the bottom all the way up until you hit something, then go down 1, and it's going to be the order value. So then we're going to start again at the bottom, go all the way up here, but this time we're going to go down 0 rows into the right 1, and we're going to put in the quantity right here. QTY. So again, for quantity, go all the way up and then to the right 1 and put in quantity. So let's run this. So order example, quantity 100. Add order. See, now we got this here and this here. So that is just remarkable. Wouldn't you agree? Awesome. So we are done with this button. This now lets us add an order to this area over here. However, you might also want to let the user search for something and then update it. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another button over here under add order. I'm going to call this search. Again, I'm going to rename this. We have 1, 2, so this is going to be CMB3. And then we're going to change the caption to search. So now, again, in this button, you double click on the user form, and down here in this CMB3 is where we're going to do this. So this is the search button. So first, I'm going to copy some of this and do some error checking because we still need them to type in what they need. So again, I just copied from here to here down in the add items sub. And for this, I don't care if they have a quantity, but they need to have this order filled out for when they hit the search button. So I'm going to make sure that they have typed something in here. So I'm going to say if order equals blank, I don't care if quantity is blank, then I'm going to call them a message box and say, please enter a value for order. Again, don't care if they have quantity. So once we know that they have entered this in here, what we want to do is search through this column and see if they have an existing thing in here already. What we need to do then is determine how many guys are in here and then loop through each of these. So you are going to see how to write a for loop in Visual Basic. So I'm going to call this quantity of orders num. So right now we have rows 2 through 9, so that would be 8 orders. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, so we're going to try and get Excel to tell us that there are 8 orders right here. So I'm going to dim num as double. Double just means a number. And what I'm going to do, again, is I'm going to use this Control-Shift combination. I'm going to try and count these many. But let's think about what happens if we don't have any orders right here. Say we don't have any data. If we do Control-Shift down from just A1, there's nothing here, it's going to go all the way down. So that's not what we want. So first I'm going to account for this. So I'm going to say if A2 is blank, if there's nothing here, if range A2 dot value equals blank, then num equals 0. So again, that's just saying if we only have this order quantity and we don't have anything else down here, then we don't have any. We're going to set it to 0. Else, so now we're talking, if we do have some stuff here, we're going to use the count method. So again, the way that you name things in Excel is you do like range, your value, comma, your ending point. So we're going to say num equals range we're going to do A1, comma, range A1 dot end Excel down dot count, and then end if. So what this is going to do is it's going to go to, so we're telling it the range, the start point, and the end point. So we're starting in cell A1. That's the equivalent of clicking in A1. And then the endpoint is A1.end down. Don't forget, this is like the control thing. So A1 to hold control, hit down, A9. So it's going to go all the way down. So this is going to count these cells. So let's put an end sub in here, and we're going to run this and then pause and see. So we want to update this time, so we have to put something in. So I'm just going to make up a number. We're going to see if this ASDF exists. So hit search, it fires. We can see that the code is waiting down here. Then I'm just going to hover over num. So it's telling me that there are 9 items in here, which is great, other than we need to subtract it to 1 because we don't want to count order and quality as an item. Anyway, so that's working. So we're going to hit reset, double click search to get back here, turn this off. And I'm going to say count -1 because I don't want to count this order and quantity row. So now this was 9, it should say 8 now. All right, now we're going to write a loop to check each order. So we're going to do for I equals 0 to num. And then we're going to need to finish our loop. We're going to say next I. And then we're going to put our code in here. But first we're going to dimension I, dim I as double. And I is just going to be our counter that we use to iterate over these values. So now we're going to loop through each of these values, and then we want to see if we have a match. So we're going to say if range A2 dot offset I comma 0 equals order, then call message box saying found it. So I'm going to show you guys something. So this message box, this one that pops up again. So we're going to say found order. I'm going to hit a space, give it one space, and then my quotation mark, then an ampersand, and then order. I'm going to put in the name of the order here, and then close the text box. So what this is going to do is, if we find something, we're going to say we found the order, and then list off the order. But another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this in an uppercase, that's U case, just to make sure that we're going to compare all caps to all caps to make sure that we don't miss anything because of case. So we're going to wrap both of these in a uCase function. So then if we found it, we're going to say, we found it. So let's run this. And if we find it, we're going to exit this 4. If we find it, we're going to kick out. So now let's play it. So here's our window. We can add things. We're going to type in Steve. Steve is not in this list, so we shouldn't find it. Then we're going to say search. Nothing happens because we didn't tell it to. But let's now type in Caleb. C-A-L-E-B. This exists over here in A4, so this should find it. So we're going to say search. And now we found it, so we're going to say found order and order. Order was Caleb. That's what we typed in. So that's good. We're going to hit OK. So now once we find it, what we're going to do is we're going to make a button appear that lets them type something in to update the quantity. So we're going to add in one more button. Again, go back to our user form, userform 1. Click on the user form, little toolbox click command button. And this guy is going to say, we're going to name this CMB4, since we already have 1, 2, and 3. And the caption is going to be update, question mark. But we're going to set the visibility of this to not visible by default. So command button 4, go into visibility, true. We're going to say false. So this is going to be one invisible button. But if we search it, if we find it, using the stuff that we just wrote, we're going to turn this button on. So we're going to say cmb4.visible equals true. So let's run this. So this is our thing, but we can't see this button that we just make. But if we find something, so I'm going to type in Noah, and I'm going to type in all caps this time, but it should still work again because we're uCasing both of these things. Do search, we found order Noah, and then this button appears. Hooray, here it is. But we only want this button to be here though if they search something and they find it. So we're going to turn this off if they hit the add order button. We're just going to add this up here. We're going to say cmb4.visible equals false. And this is just going to turn that button off so that people can't see it. Okay, and we're also going to turn it off again at the beginning of the search button so that it's not here if people don't see anything. So I'm just going to copy this code, cmb4.visible equals false, and put it down here in the search button sub. Okay, feeling good. So now we need to code what we want to happen when we hit this button. So what we want to do, we have this down here that we can type in now. It's going to be the update button. So I'm just going to copy all of these things again from this sub because we're going to need to define all these variables again. And there's ways that you can make things global so that you can kind of share them across things. But for this little mini lecture, I'm not going to worry about that. So again, at this point, they have typed something in here. They have found it, found order Noah, and then they're going to click this update button, and then this code they were going to start writing is going to work. But what we want to do is let them type in a quantity and change the value of what they have over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop back through all of this stuff again, and then let them change the value. So first, we're going to make sure that they've typed things in the order, and the quantity box. We already have this code. We can copy it from the add items order. So we're going to copy that, pull that down here. Make sure that you still dimension the order and the quality. And this is going to say, if order is blank or quality is blank, then add a message box. Tell them to type something in. So we're going to make sure that they have it. We're going to capture the number still, because we're going to do another loop. So I'm just going to copy this code. Really, this probably isn't the most efficient thing, but it'll work for now. And we already have num dimmed here. So we're going to count how many guys these are, and then we're going to loop through. So I'm going to copy this code one more time. So loop through to check order, and then update it, exclamation point. So what we're doing is we're going to go through and find this item that they've typed over here, and then kick over one and update it. Okay, so what we're going to do is, we already have this. If we have a match, then we're going to say we found it. We're not going to tell them this because they already know they found it. But we're going to let them change the value and the quantity. So we're going to loop through. If we have a match on the order, they're going to change quantity. So we're going to say QTY, or rather we're going to say range A2 point offset I comma 1. So we're going up and down the A column, then we're going to go over 1. We've gone down I with loop, and we're going to kick to the right 1. That's this one right here. Dot value equals quantity. And this is just what they typed in. Nope, don't help me. I don't need your help. Nope, I don't need your help. So range A2 over 1 equals quantity QTY. Again, we captured this already. So this is going to let us update these. But it's also nice to let the user know if they couldn't find anything. Okay, and we're still going to have this be visible. We don't need to do that. And then we'll tell a message box that it was successful. So we'll call message box, say order, you need double quotes, order updated. One other thing, sorry, let me go ahead and run this and show you what this looks like. So now we can add things. We'll say order hello quantity 50 39 add. So we added hello 39 down here. And if we want to search, let's change this one that we just typed in. So hello, search for that. We found it. So now this button appears. So let's change this quantity from 39 to 100. So I'm going to type in 100 for quantity. And then again, we just showed over here that we're going to take the range on the Excel sheet and set it equal to quantity, which is currently being held as, we put in 100. Where did my thing go? Okay, so update. Nope, I need a G in my message box. Sorry about that. So order updated. So we typed in 100, and we can see that hello now says 100. And then we can exit it. We also want to turn this button back off after they update it. So we'll come back down here, and at the end of the sub, we're going to turn this button off. So that's cmb4.visible equals false. So now after they try and order it, we're going to say hello again. We're going to search for it. We found it. We're going to make this 200. So we currently have 100. We're going to make that 200. Hit the update. That works. Text box, that button goes away. Now, one last thing that I'm going to show you is how to tell people that you didn't find something. So we want to tell them whenever they search, if they can't find anything, we want to tell them, they're like, hey, sorry, we didn't find what you're looking for. So back in search, I'm going to dimension one more variable, which is going to be used to hold a yes or no. It's called a Boolean or a binary variable. So I'm going to dim is found as Boolean. So this is, again, this is in the search sub. I should have done this earlier, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and set this value to false. Is found equals false. So we're going to assume that they haven't found it, and then if they do find it, then we're going to set it correct. So we want to see if they found it, then we're going to set this new variable to true. Is found equals true. Okay, so this is just kind of like a signal that we're going to carry to see if we find something or not. And then if we don't find it, we're going to tell them and let them know. So we're going to say if is found equals false. Again, that means that we didn't find it. Then we're going to call a message box, callmsgbox. We're going to say order not found. I'll give it a frowny face. So this is just a nice way to let your user know that your program is in fact working, but it did not do what they wanted to do. So now that I think we are done with this. Let me look at my notes real quick for us. Yeah, so let's just try this out one more time. So now again we can add things. We'll say Steve. We want 200. We're going to add that. This pops up down here at the bottom. We can search for things. So we can search for something that we want, like Mike. We're going to search order not found. I think that's because Mike had a space at the very end of his name. Sorry, that's just this little guy right here. I think Mike will work now. Mike. So now we found Mike, and we can update it. So Mike is at 455. Let's put him down to 20. Update. Order updated. Mike now has 20. But let's see what it looks like if we search and we don't find it. So let's put this in as Dave. Sorry, Dave is in there. We'll say Roger. We're going to search. And we didn't find Roger, so we were able to call this message box and let Roger know that we didn't find him. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for us, but let me know if you have questions. I might be able to help you. But yeah, that's a way that you can just quickly do some pretty cool stuff in Visual Basic. All right, sounds good.